Hello everyone, there's a new banner out today as part of the Dimensions End Transcendence Reprise, the global exclusive event, and this is the Auron and Sarah banner. Unfortunately, I kinda missed the announcement, wasn't sure when they actually announced this banner. I know the stream did mention new banners, but I don't think they actually mentioned specifically Auron coming back, although I suppose Auron would be the most logical choice since it was actually released earlier in the JP timeline. Anyway, this would somewhat deviate from my normal pool plans. I usually try to release my plans before the banners gets released, just so that it's more useful to everyone that way. But for the GL exclusive events, I think what I'll do, instead of doing the videos in advance, for those I will just do the videos probably on the same day as the banner release, because we've already seen from the Cloud banner where they actually changed the banner. Cloud had Edgar in the GL version as his banner partner, whereas in the JP partner they actually gave him together with Celeste. So I don't want to make the GL exclusive videos before the event gets released, because I wouldn't be too sure whether they would change the banner up. But for the other events and banners that follows the JP timeline, I would do the usual release before the event goes live and usually try to cover 2 banners or 2 events in one video. So without further ado, let's head on to the banner. Auron finally gets his rework. In the JP timeline, he was actually released a little bit earlier. In this event, Auron gets a rework and a newly released FR and BT weapon. Auron's rework is pretty straightforward. It's across his S1, S2, EX and LD, where it's sort of bumped up more in line with the current meta. His skills now do about 4 to 6 or so HP dumps, which doesn't seem like a lot, but don't forget that he also has the often counters, and that contributes another 3 HP dumps. So overall, Auron actually does pretty decent damage. Plus, of course, he has the extra advantage of being a cover tank, a role which is very valuable in this game. In particular, if you are fairly new to the game and you don't have any tanks built up, my recommendation is to actually go for Auron, because having a tank makes a lot of the stages significantly easier, especially as if you're fairly new, you're not sure on how to mitigate boss attacks or special triggers, then having a tank probably is the safer way to go. Auron gets a new shiny BT weapon, and the BT weapon lasts for 6 turns upon used and gives the party some decent auras but nothing too out of the ordinary. So you get the party brave damage plus 20%, brave damage cap plus 50%, HP damage plus 20%, and HP damage cap plus 30%. In addition, as long as Auron's BT aura is up, the BT aura itself has a stacking mechanic where it starts from 1 stack and it goes to 3 stacks and resets back to 1 again. Anytime Auron attacks an enemy, and this also includes his counter attack, the stack will increase by 1. When the stack reaches 3, Aurons get 1 skill use of a new skill called High Spirits. This skill replaces his HP plus attack, somewhat in a similar fashion as characters such as Lena or Irvine if you already have them. And he gets another skill use anytime the BT aura reaches 3 stacks again. So you could potentially stack quite a number of users. I think it caps at 10 skill use or something, but doesn't really matter, it's way more than you actually really need. That attack actually does pretty decent damage. Overall, it is a 7 AoE HP dump attack, so it would actually be Auron's hardest hitting attack. On top of it, it also inflicts his Eye Brave and Max Brave down, and melee imperil as well, all in one. Moving on to his FR inflicts his full break, which is the debuff that he inflicts from his counter or his LD, and also inflicts his trademark melee imperil. His FR conditional is actually pretty decent. It sort of went the half and half route, where you get the plus force bonus percentage when you do an attack on your turn, but you also get plus bonus percentage when the enemies get their turn. So firstly, if you do any weapon type weakness attack, you get plus 5%. A weapon type weakness attack is either a melee, range or magic weakness attack. And considering that Auron himself can land the melee in peril, this shouldn't be an issue as long as you are doing melee attacks. Any character that does this will get plus 5% bonus, and take note this also includes often weapon type weakness attacks. If Auron is the one that does this attack, he gets another additional 10% on top of this for a total of plus 15%. So this also means that in Auron's force time, his counters will give you plus 15% each, which is actually pretty decent. During your turn, if you attack a debuffed enemy, you get plus 30%, so this is more or less guaranteed. And finally, anytime an enemy turn passes, regardless of what they do, you get plus 20%. All in all, it is actually pretty good. Each individual conditional seems pretty small, but if you take it in its totality and you consider one standard round with two enemies where you get your character attacking and you get plus 30% for the debuff conditional, maybe another plus 5% if it's not Auron. And then two bosses get their turn, you get plus 40% that way. Auron counters attack, you get another plus 30% that way for the two bosses. So you can get anywhere from like 70 to 100% for one round of turns, so called. Obviously this changes a lot depending on number of enemies and the turn ratio between enemy and players, but in general you should see a somewhat decent to sizable force gauge bonus building up. Now for this video, I won't go into another slide covering my recommendations or my tiering since it's only one banner, but I'll give my impressions I guess on this slide as well. As you can see, I actually went in with tickets going for Auron's FR. I think he at least deserves his FR. He actually put in a lot of work for me during his release back in the day, and I think with his FR it's actually pretty good. That way, if you decide to bring Auron and you enter into anyone's force time, Auron gets to at least also use his force echoes to keep the force time going longer, which is always a plus. Not to mention, we are also going to be getting Reno pretty soon, and Auron actually goes very well with Reno. Question I guess most people would ask is, does Auron really need his BT? Obviously having a BT helps regardless of which character it is, but in this case I don't think it's really needed. Auron will function really well without his BT. First off, the party auras are nice, but you don't really have to nowadays, as long as you can build a somewhat competent party and maybe throw in a support of some kind, you should have no issues capping out on damage anyway. So the only stat that matters out of it will I guess be the HP damage cap, but that only is a plus 30% bonus, which does matter, I give you that, but it's not going to break the game or make a run fail or anything like that, so it's not something particularly noteworthy. Now with regards to his stacking mechanic and the access to an extra attack, I don't think Auron really needs it, because if you are bringing Auron most of the time, you would likely be doing an often party setup, and in an often party setup it's the often damage or the counter attacks that really matter, and the stacking mechanic doesn't really impact that. Sure, it does give Auron a harder hitting attack that he can use on his turn, but in an often route you don't really want to get too many turns anyway, so realistically speaking you aren't going to use too much of his high spirits attack, maybe just a few times throughout the entire fight. And the alternative would be using his LD, which is already 5 HP dumps, so the difference is there, but it isn't again game breaking and definitely isn't going to make or break your run anyway. Of course you could do something like get his BT plus and get his BT aura up early, gain a lot of his high spirits attack, and then go into one massive BT mode with Auron, doing the attack as many times as possible. But that's not really an often run any longer, and you know you'll be burning your force time if you enter Auron's BT mode. And if you want to go the route of force time into BT plus into BT mode, my question is, then why Auron in the first place? While his new attack is decent in damage, it's only end of the day 7 HP dumps, and we have damage dealers who, if you enter into their force time, you can get 10 to 15 HP dumps worth of damage per turn anyway. So my view is that if you get his BT while you're chasing his FR, then by all means, why not just win it? But personally, I wouldn't recommend going out of your way to chase his BT, particularly since we are in a sort of period of time where there are so many enticing banners out there that you probably want to save your resources for anyway. That's it for this video. As always, if the video has been helpful, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next pool plan video. Bye!